Welcome to the weekly MindSweep number 198, The Curator's Perspective. Unmasking the Performance. What hides beneath doing it all? The badge of doing has always felt like armor. For years, that badge gleamed under the big overhead fluorescent lights of late night emails and shimmered in every color-coded sticky note I swore would keep me on top of things. I was clinging on for some sort of control. That armor made me feel safe, or at least it looked like safety. Sprinting from one idea to another on adrenaline, with the dopamine and adrenaline of a tag team race, I told myself, this is thriving. Then, after a new client signed on and notifications fired off dopamine, I celebrated the win, yet alone at my kitchen counter, hands trembling beside an empty cup, the contrast hit me. Outwardly, I looked like a model entrepreneur, creative, resilient, adaptable. Inside, I felt a cold silence, like a heavy pause between playing the same familiar song on repeat to soothe my nervous system. When will I finally feel like I've done enough? ADHD masking is a conscious or unconscious effort to hide, suppress, or overcompensate for ADHD symptoms to appear more typical at work or socially. For entrepreneurs, masking drives a relentless pursuit of productivity and outward success, but often leads to emotional exhaustion and a sense of disconnection from your authentic self. It's a story I hear again and again from creative entrepreneurs and ADHD business minds, the compulsion to turn setbacks into innovation and pressure into performance, all while hoping no one notices the panic that bubbles up when momentum stalls. Small missteps lead to complex fixes. Disorganization spurs clever workarounds. Masking turns struggle into apparent resilience, but beneath it's a quest for belonging, a survival disguised as strength. We call it resilience, but sometimes it's just survival in fancy clothes. If I stop moving, they'll see me. So, why does success feel so fleeting? Why does achievement feed a hunger that only grows stronger, even when it seems like it should be satisfied? This isn't just ambition or ego, it's a brain wired for constant proof seeking, making masking feel necessary, but never satisfying. As Brene Brown reminds us, shame isn't I did something wrong, it's I am wrong. For ADHD entrepreneurs, that story gets turbocharged. Our brain runs on anticipation and novelty. Every win is amplified, and every stumble is magnified to 150%. The mind crafts stories swiftly, always searching for both proof of worth and for warning signs of inadequacy. Adam Grant describes performance as a double-edged sword. It can motivate progress, but over time, it can easily become a mask that hides vulnerability, fear, and a longing for connection. The excitement of achievement is a quick burst of dopamine in the brain, but when the praise fades and the next task appears, other parts of the brain quietly signal stress, inviting shame in, ever so softly and insistently. Was that enough? Will they still like me? Shouldn't I be doing more? On our busiest days, we can feel it physically. Our shoulders tense, our hearts race, thoughts darting from next pitch to the last unfinished task. Maybe you check your phone compulsively, craving the relief of a new notification, which is really using action as self-soothing. You convince yourself that doing equals belonging and that movement makes you safe. The mask tightens. And as for rest, rest feels less like relief and more like exposure. When the performance stops and your nervous system panics, your breath becomes shallow, the fidgeting kicks in, and there's an urge to fix anything to keep moving. That discomfort isn't weakness, it's wiring. The creative ADHD brain adapts through action, seeking reassurance through movement, dreading the discomfort that stillness can bring. Yet stillness is the only place where the real work happens. And then, sometimes, the mask slips. Not always with grand failure or public embarrassment, but through small, private moments, an unfinished project, a gentle critique, or even the absence of response. Shame makes itself known in the ordinary, the quiet comparison with a friend's curated feed, a rejection that stings longer than expected, or an inner voice whispering, not enough. We turn to our usual solutions, quick fixes, and routines. We call it innovation because being an entrepreneur means adapting. But deep down, there's a quiet feeling that our worth depends on what we achieve next. It can feel like our identity is tied to our last success, that our identity is only as strong as the next performance. And the brain, bless its pattern-loving heart, believes it. What we rarely see in the entrepreneurial community is the true cost of masking: emotional exhaustion, a distorted sense of self. We're so busy performing that masking our true self obscures our true value, making authentic self-worth feel distant and unreachable. Research shows what many people have felt but struggled to explain. Self-worth isn't something you earn, it's something you remember. It's built into our minds, shaped by our experiences of belonging and safety. The default mode network, that voice in our heads, keeps repeating old stories unless we step in and change them. Why do I feel so bad? Because I'm behind. Because I'm lazy. Because I'm not enough. But those are just stories that your brain tells when it can't find new evidence. That's why microevidence matters. Brené Brown's research reminds us that shame cannot survive being spoken. The most powerful antidote isn't hustle or perfection, it's empathy. Adam Grant's work echoes this. Psychological safety fosters creativity, resilience, and authentic connection. When entrepreneurs name their fears, allow for imperfection, and show compassion to themselves and others, real rewiring begins. Slowly, the nervous system learns to feel safe in presence, not just in performance. Awareness disrupts that cycle. Intentional pauses signal the brain, I am safe, even when I'm still. New pathways form one small moment at a time, pausing before we prove ourselves, replacing frantic action with intentional breath, writing out facts to separate reality from the brain's old stories. Each conscious rest and honored boundary builds evidence. Your worth exists now, not as a result of endless performance or masking. No, you don't rewrite your neural pathways in a single epiphany. You do it in tiny, deliberate moments. Each time you choose presence over performance, you teach your brain a new language. That's where the rewiring begins. ADHD entrepreneurs love metrics. They are tangible, measurable, and oh so comforting. But enough isn't a number. It's a state of regulation. It's a nervous system state arriving when the outside world no longer has to be the mirror for your worth. Only you can rest without guilt, return to undone tasks without self-blame, and build new circuits of meaning. This month, the curator's perspective steps outside our usual template. A transition, a pause, an invitation. Before we talk shame, let's honor the invisible labor of masking, the cost of constant proof-seeking, and the courage it takes to unmask, even for a moment. This is for the entrepreneur who turns setbacks into new directions, but also needs rest. It's for the restless minds who create while quietly facing doubt. Let's take a collective breath together before we explore shame in more depth next month. Your wins deserve celebration, but your worth was never in question. As we begin next month's topic, let it be a journey of remembering. You are more than your mask, and your enoughness is already waiting. You are deeply seen. You are profoundly heard, and you are understood here. My questions for you this week. In what ways has masking or performance held you back from real connection or creativity? When you unmask, stop performing, how do others respond? And how do you feel about it? Reply and share with me. If the mask is starting to feel heavy, that's your signal. Let's lighten the load. If you've been performing your way through business by smiling, achieving, and producing, but still feel unseen beneath it all, maybe it's time to unmask. That's the work we can do together. Schedule a MindSweep mapping session to uncover your stories your brain's been performing and rewrite them into strategies that align with your truth, not the performance of it. Together, we'll transform coping into clarity, doing into being, and noise into knowing. Your brain, your business, mapped. You can book a free MindSweep chat, or if you already know where you want to work on your business, You can book a free consultation to learn how I can support you and your business at chickbookcreative.com.